Testing, testing. JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Monday, August 19th. 50 minutes to the close. Talk really quick about the market, some names I'm looking at. Go from there, but take a look at the S&P. Markets are rallying again. Um, 7 sessions in a row coming into today. It looks like it's going to be 8. The SPY, which couldn't break through 555 on Friday, cut through that 555 handle at about, about 10:35 or so. A big spot, and then it's been melting, grinding higher ever since. A little spike at about 245 from 557 up to 558, and all of a sudden we are a stone throw away from all-time highs. The July 16th 565 handle, I believe it was on the SPY. That's in play. So a lot going on this week, but we'll Fed minutes and then Jackson Hole at the end of the week. But other than that, there's not too much in the way of earnings. Palo Alto after the close today. Be interesting to hear how CrowdStrike impacted their business. Did they get more? Is it our customers more skeptical? So should be fun. But 555 now on the flip side looks like support. So if things do get a little shaky into the end of the day or tomorrow, that's the spot I'll be looking for in regards to support. And then on the flip side, almost like a blue sky breakout here. But to me, I always prefer chop, especially a large after the large reversal only 2 weeks ago from 509 and change on the SPY. So sometimes it's nice to have a little chop, but I'll take it. So we'll see if the momentum continues into tomorrow. That's that, and then the small caps all up 1%, so outperforming the major indexes. Good sign, and some of that too is it seems like the biotechs are uh, finally enjoying a nice rally. It's nice to see. I always like when the biotechs rally, right? But IBB's at 147 there, up nearly 1.6%, so it just bodes well. And then last but not least here is the VIX. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pretty much 8 of the past 9 sessions to the downside, down another. Well, it's only down a little bit here today. I would be surprised if it goes too much lower. Probably hangs around 15 into Friday. Nice little slide, and I posted this in the chat room. If you see, I think now it's on the front page on Market Watch. It wasn't before, but a nice little slide I posted in the chat room in regards to what impact Jackson Hole has had over on the market, and it has the run up the prior 5 days. It has the return 5 days after, and then it has the return for all 10 days combined. And typically, so they have the average. So the average gain before is 0.2%, average gain after is 0.7%, and then average total is about 0.9%. So nothing crazy. So it's usually nothing mind-boggling outside of, or at least market moving. 2022, I think, was we were in the midst of all the inflation concerns. How high was the rates going to, how high were they going to go? So this is kind of where the higher for longer narrative started to get discussed. And then you saw 5 days prior to Jackson Hole, market was down 2%. 5 days after, down 5.5%, and then 7% for that entire period. And some of that is depending. I don't even know what it was, if it was totally at the end of the month, but we're near in September and October, historically shaky shaky time frame. So all right, so now individual names I'm looking at. Let me just get this over here. So first, I don't like to really talk about it too much because I see when I talk about it, it's like a somewhat of almost a jinx. But VKTX is taking off today. Really started to go at about 2 o'clock, almost like some rumor came out or some analyst comment or whatever. I don't know exactly what it is. There was also some contracts. I think it was the 80 strikes October. Saw like a huge hit, and I have to go take a look. I haven't had a chance to pull up the actual. Actually, I could probably do it right now. I think it's the October 80s. There was a huge block on those, right? Yeah, 1,800 of those hit, and those are $5. So you do the math. That's pretty large. I can't see them right now. Do I have them up here? Sorry, folks. I'm just trying to pull this up on the go here. But if I could probably find them. It looks like they were mid, and it doesn't look like they were spread either, unless someone was selling to open. Also the thing is VKTX has that large short interest. So today it seems like all these names that have high short interests, I don't know how you say it, plural, short interest is, are all running in tandem. Fubo which I mean, it's had some positive news, but it had some kind of, I guess, who was coming out with a competitive sporting channel or whatever, and I'm like, Fubo's not down, wasn't down at $1 because of the competition, right? And then the fact that this lawsuit comes out now, it rallies. I love Fubo. I wish I grabbed it at the open or last week, but I think it's a great story, especially it rants for other days. I'm not going to talk about Fubo because I'm not getting a position. But it just seems like all these short names are running, and then all of a sudden, maybe some folks have shorts in VKTX that are also short in some of these other names, and they have to kind of deleverage, try and get out, cover some of these positions to keep their portfolio at certain percentages or whatever the case may be. So that might be some of it, but huge volume. It's not like it was just call volume or option volume. Market volume just went nuts after about 210. So here it is at high 65. You know my thoughts here. It's a $6 billion company. I mean, conservatively, if there's an acquisition, I think there would be lawsuits if VKTX got bought for less than like $110. And I mean, to me, that's like conservative. I could see 150, 180, depending on where it is at the time. I and that's why I just can't wrap my head around why the stock continues to just muster around here. It just chops around. And then anytime it seems to find any kind of momentum, it seems like the next day the wind gets taken out of sails and it reverses and it's back to doing the same thing, which is frustrating shareholders, traders, anyone who's bullish. I think 70 is the big spot to me. If it breaks over 70, I'll look to get more strikes. Still have my Septembers. The plan for me was to just get the Septembers and hold them through thick and thin. And then if there's, if I do see an opportunity, and to me the opportunity would be if it breaks 70, I'll look for some other strikes to play for more upside. That's VKTX, which plays right into TERN. Finally got some TERN strikes. The Septembers, another name, huge option volume, and it's some of the reason I didn't want to wait too much longer because it seemed like someone was coming in with some huge hits, and what that does, it increases the implied volatility, and then the calls become more expensive and the puts. So uh, I went and got some September strikes. At some point, I'll look to get the Octobers. Uh, Today, almost 10,000 call contracts traded on turns with 600 puts. That is historically a large volume day. If you just take a look at the open interest, there might be a 1,000 contracts in September, 35, maybe 5,000 in October, another 2,000 in January. So total, there's probably 10,000 or 11,000 calls that have an open interest coming into today, and we already have 9,700 calls traded. So I would assume that open interest is going up. These aren't selling positions. These are folks looking to add some risk on for the data that's coming out in September. And again, September 20th is the expiration. So data's got to come out for September 20th, or it's going to be a problems. The plan here, and I always kind of look to do similar things when I do my trades, is that I'll look to get some out to cover costs when I get a chance on those Septembers, and they're up a little bit so far. I don't know if probably gonna need to get $8.50 or $9 at least just to get the my calls to the 12s to double. But if I do get a chance to get some out to cover costs, I will ride the rest, and then I'm definitely gonna get at least one or one or two, a couple contracts for the October expiration as well, which those are going up too. Maybe the 15s. I might look to just get a couple, and those are maybe the speculative positions where it's hero or zero. If the data is in line or even less than expectations, the stock's probably not going to do much. If the data is better than expectations, I think it goes 16, 17, 18, if not higher. All right, so that's turns. SE finally locked the last of my August 30s in for 400%. The thing was the call premiums weren't going up as much as I thought they would, considering when I locked some of those August 80s last week, they were actually almost higher, if not the same price, despite the stock it's up another 3.5% today. So some of that could be the volatility kind of coming out of the stock after its earnings. Maybe folks are not betting on a bigger move. I don't know, but I just didn't want to lose those profits, so I locked those August strikes in, and then I'll just continue to hold the Septembers. There, I if you had told me that that SE would be up 3% today, I would have thought my September 90s would be up 50 or 75%, and they're not even up that much. So, well, actually, technically, I guess they're up 50%, but from where I got them, they're not up 50%. Similar situation. Once the calls get up to near 100%, I'll look to lock some in, cover costs. You look at the chart, 75 was a key breakout spot, and I'm not trying to do even numbers all the time here, but that 85 is the next kind of break there, and then we have gap fills up near 95. I'm call me crazy, but I'll probably keep saying this until I'm proven wrong. But I I'm looking at SE to have three digits before the end of the year. That's kind of where I see it going. Probably not going to be an easy ride. And again, I think there's a lot of wild cards because it is in South. A lot of its majority of its business in Southeast Asia and South America. So there's geopolitical things that can just move the stock regardless of the underlying fundamentals. So that's kind of a risk there. But I outside of that, outside of China invading Taiwan or some crazy thing that could happen, I think it trades triple digits. All right, so that's SE. Baidu broke over 90 right in the morning and then just been chopping around pretty much ever since. Found some weakness around 1 o'clock, back under 90, and then now it's back over 90. It's the irony, right? This is what the option market and the market does to you. I have the 89 weeklies. 30 minutes into the day after they expired, the stock goes into the 90s, right? I mean, you can't make that stuff up. It just seems to happen. And that's why sometimes when you see me get some strikes, like I did it on Dell last week, and similar to I mean, I added some BIDU September, so I'm lucky there. But sometimes it's better just to pay a little extra for the next week, so at least you get that. And maybe it's not as big a multi-bagger if it goes in the right direction, but at least when it does go the right direction, you have time to get the profits as opposed to it expiring. So love Baidu here. Reports earnings Thursday before the open. If Asia markets have another solid session overnight, I could see it trade mid 90s. I mean, I would love to see a trade over 100 by Thursday, but well, before Wednesday close because Thursday they report earnings. Similar, my Baidu calls are creeping up in premium. Once they get to a double, I'll lock some in to cover costs. I might lock some in to cover costs regardless if they're a double or not come Wednesday. Just don't want to be in a spot where Baidu lays an egg or some the numbers aren't in. There's another weak quarter or something, some surprise, and then the stock tumbles and I lose my profit. So that's kind of the game plan there on Baidu. Block, great open to the day, all the way up to near 67, pulled back to the lower 66s, and now it's trying to get back to the highs of the session. 200-day moving average still hanging there at about 69 and change. Still think this is headed to 70 in the coming days. Similar, I sound like a broken record here, but once my 70 strikes get to a double, I'll close them out to cover costs, ride the rest. Clear Secure is looking for back-to-back red sessions. It hasn't done that in quite some time, albeit not that big of declines. But the thing is, actually, I mean, today's at 2%. It seemed like there was some kind of someone came out with something at the open. The stock just plummeted right out of the gate, and it's not the most liquid name. So sometimes if someone has a big sell order in or what have you, you can almost pull the. There could be some air pockets and no support in there, so the bid just gets killed, and then the stock plummets. It went down to 26.51 right after the open, bounced back, almost hit highs of 28.50 before pulling back here. It's down about 2%. Story hasn't changed to me. Still love the name for much higher in the coming weeks. I think it's over $30. So not going to do too much on the rant on that one. Oh, and then so I was just talking about these high short interest names rallying today. Here's WW going for another move over $1. Hopefully it holds this dollar handle. Let's see, where's 101 right now? It's hanging on by a thread at $1. I think there's key psychological levels, right? You don't want to when the stock is under $1, maybe it's not as attractive. It's funny. It's like the similar thing with the reverse splits and the forward splits. People, when they look at a stock that's 20 cents and then they do a reverse split, all of a sudden that stock at $2 looks more attractive to people. It's just how it works, right? It's like putting a 9 at the end of the pricing on your produce or whatever it is, or a 7. It's only 3 cents less than that dollar if you round it up, but it just gives that perception. So hopefully it stays over $1 there. That's WW. And yeah, and similar iRobot here. Still love this name. It looked like it was going to break out last week a couple times, and every time it had a solid day. One day, the next day was pretty much reversed all those gains. One of these days, hopefully it breaks out. Yeah, Redfin. So Redfin's up nearly 20% today, and it's funny if you look at some of these folks last week when the housing starts. This whole narrative around housing and all these folks trying to find little data points that are going to, confirm their bearish bias, that and confirm that their narrative or spin of a recession is coming. They want that to be the data point that points to it. And what happened on after the housing starts came out, all the builders and real estate names rallied. So, and you look at Redfin. Like, I love Redfin. I've done my rants last week, so I don't want to be doing a quick rant again. But I mean, trades like 1 times revenues right now. That one has a high short interest. I think it's 16%. And I think we have new home sales numbers come out Thursday or Friday. So I mean, similar to the housing starts, similar. I mean, jobless claims, when those come out on Thursday, those are all going to be numbers that people really starting to look at, because they want to confirm their negative bias around the market, and just in time for September and October, where all the great crashes in U.S. history have happened. Hopefully that's not the case. We'll see what happens. All right, so that's that. I'm trying to think of some of the other names. I think that's it. While I'm talking, VKTX keeps hitting high, so hey, maybe it gets to 70. If I stay on audio for another 30 minutes, we can get to see 70 by the end of the day, but probably not. I think that's it, folks. Let's have a great rest of the day. I'll be back on audio tomorrow. Rock and roll.